Berlin, Al Jardine of the Beach Boys, John Mayall, Nancy Wilson of Heart, Wilson Phillips, Australia's Thunder from Down Under, and many more. Plus, Throwback Thursdays with Fast Times. And it's the perfect place to host your special events. Book your holiday party now. Sunday Brunch returns with Santa Clarita's own Savannah Burrows. The Canyon Santa Clarita, where music meets the soul. Tickets available through Ticketmaster.
Santa Clarita's hometown station. Hometown station.
KHTS AM 1220 and the new 98.1 FM.
And welcome to the Alex Urbina radio show. I'm your host, and today we're live in the KHTS studio in downtown Newhall, California, hanging out with my lovely co-host, Ellen Tunick. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This show is all about life coaching and how to create maximum value for yourself through a life coach or from the simple willingness just to be open to all possibilities. This is a series called Helping You Reach Your Full Potential, and we're going to get into a live coaching session, and you're going to get a peek into an open, honest dialogue where we open up possibilities for interpersonal breakthroughs. And I think one of the greatest things about coaching for me is that when I'm willing to be honest and open about some of the things that I might be struggling with or stuck or I just don't understand or I'm not clear about, for me that's the magical ingredients to now open up the possibilities to help somebody either share a different insight or a different way of looking at it, to be able to go, oh, I never saw it like that. And I think that's where the juice is at, don't you?
That's the fulfilling part.
Yeah, that's the getting that clarity of someone else just painting a different picture for you to go, oh, I never saw it like that. I think that is the juice about, developing and growing.
Because there's so much more. It's like if you can open yourself up to that.
If you're willing to be open.
Then there's so much out there that you can go towards.
Absolutely. And so before I get into this live coaching session, let me talk a little bit about the magical ingredients to be coached or be coachable. So I'm going to tee that up for you. What you need to first start off with is you got to be open-minded. You got to be open to all possibilities. Even if you can't see it yet, you at least have to be open to that. It is possible. Somebody is seeing it like that. Someone is creating those kinds of results. So it just starts with being open-minded. The next thing is that you got to be really self-aware. And by that I mean you got to be willing to look inward and stop looking outward towards others, but starting to look at myself and be willing to look, be more self-reflective and ask yourself, what am I doing about this? How am I showing up? Who am I being in this situation? What am I doing? Rather than focusing on the other person and constantly worried about what they're doing and what they're not doing right. You got to start being willing to take your eyeballs and spin them around and start looking inward. So be self-aware. And then the last thing is that you got to be willing to surrender some old limiting beliefs or some old conditioning that you grew up with, these beliefs that you believe are true, but they might not necessarily be true. There's just the way that you have been taught to see it that way. So you got to be willing to the possibility that you have some old, outdated software programming or some perspectives that might not be effective for you currently in this new state. And with that being said, we have Lisa Bergoli joining us in studio today. Thank you for taking the time.
Welcome.
Appreciate you. So where do you want to start off at? Where's the
deep breath, Lisa?
Oh boy! Normally, I ask my clients to start off with a question, and this is what's so amazing about the question. I've been coaching people for a little over 23 years. Some of my current clients, the longest run is one of my clients is about 18 years now, and even that client still struggles with coming up with a question every time I sit with them, and I think that's because our ego is so rigid about not wanting to look like they don't have all the answers, because at some point we become know-it-alls. Our ego believes that it knows all of it, and it doesn't want to reveal that it doesn't know anything. So it's very challenging to come up with a question sometimes.
When you coach me live and you say, don't forget your questions, and it's like, I don't really have any this week. And then we come up with one, and then it just goes on and on and on. So
it's a practice.
It's a practice.
It's an art form.
Yes.
You have to really get used to. And sometimes the coaching session is about me helping them come up with a question. So I'll say, "Where are you stuck?" And then when they tell me where they're stuck, I'll say, "Is this a good question to ask?" And then I'll throw the question. They'll go, "Yeah, that's a good one."
There you go.
So you have to learn how to ask questions.
You have to learn how to ask yourself questions.
That's right.
Yeah.
You got to, and this is where the juice is at, is questioning yourself. Why do I do this? Why is, you got to be more in the why. Start living in the
Got
question.
some whys
Yeah.
for us, Lisa?
Well, I do. I'm going to start from my last question, which pertains to what you said in terms of a limited belief, that you grow up with these limited beliefs. And by the way, I'm very open to change. And I do a lot of self-reflecting and try to improve constantly.
Wonderful.
To make myself to be in a more positive mindset.
You're starting off in the right
So,
frame.
having said
However,
that, okay, I'm going to start with a lot of my questions pertain to relationships with men, with me. Ellen and I had talked about how I have amazing friends, amazing relationships with my girlfriends. But when it comes to men, I seem to choose the wrong ones. And recently broke up with a gentleman. Now, having said that, in my family, I was always defined as being too sensitive. Therefore, a lot of what I say is discounted. Oh, she's just being too sensitive. She's just being too sensitive. And I'm wondering if I am carrying that forward in relationships with men, and how do I redefine myself from that? I always tried to phrase it that, well, I'm too sensitive. I worked in a nursing home for 18 years, and my sensitivity came in very handy because I was able to be compassionate with my residents. And I worked in the business office, but I had a lot of contact with them. So I tried to turn it around that my sensitivity is a wonderful thing, that I do have a lot of compassion for people, and I want to help people. I help the homeless. I help whoever I can. But by the same token, it's a negative because my feelings are discounted. When I speak, it's discounted in a family environment.
Okay. So, first of all, you can never be too sensitive. There's no such thing. As human beings, what we do is our ego slowly, at a young age, starts to numb ourselves from feeling sensitive and being vulnerable and allowing ourselves to feel our emotions. So your ego's job is to slowly numb you out so that you don't feel anything. It doesn't want you to feel pain. It doesn't want you to be compassionate, because when you're in that state, you're really vulnerable to experience more pain and more hurt. So your ego's job is to protect you and not have you feel those things. Your job is to not let the ego numb you out and allow yourself and give yourself permission, like you said, that choose to see it as it's a beautiful thing. It's part of the gift that I am to the world. It's part of my spirit, my soul. Especially as a woman, you guys were born to teach us men how to be more in touch with our emotions and our feelings. You guys are healers. You heal us kids when we're growing up and we scrape our knee. We need someone to hold us and to love us and be compassionate and be vulnerable with us, because that's the healing process. So you should never not be embracing your own sensitivity. Now, there's a statement you made about, and I don't remember how you said it verbatim, but it's more like you seem like when you bring that vulnerability and that sensitivity into a relationship, it seems to be discounted. Is that what you said?
In my family environment.
In your family environment.
Very much, because that's how I'm defined.
Yeah, so
as the sensitive one.
So let's try to understand society. In society, we're growing up now in this model of be strong, be tough. And being strong and being tough means don't show your feelings, don't feel your feelings, don't show your emotions. And there's those of us that are waking up and starting to remember that that's what makes us so special, is that we do feel, and we're supposed to be feeling. We're human beings, so you're supposed to be in tune with your beingness. And it's the society that has taught us and is teaching us to be strong and to be tough. And somehow we've decided that being strong is not feel your feelings anymore. But then you're not being human being anymore. You're being a robot. And so
yeah, but robots don't have to feel anything.
That's true.
So
robots don't have to feel anything. But you have to decide, how do you want to live your life? Do you want to live your life not feeling, or do you want to go to your deathbed knowing that you really experienced all of your experiences? Or do you want to be on your deathbed going, man, I created all these extraordinary results, but I didn't get to really feel the joy and the excitement and the passion and the love or the fear or any of it. So you just got to decide, how do you want to live your life? And you don't have to justify yourself to anybody. You just got to learn how to explain yourself. So when people tell you, friends, parents, siblings, hey, you're too sensitive, and you go, yeah, don't you love that about me? You have to learn how to just start loving it and accepting that that is your gift and that's what makes you you. So it's more about owning it rather than trying to defend it.
Okay.
That's an aha for me. Learning how to own it instead of defending it. Because I think as we grow up, we're constantly defending how we feel. And
Yes.
we don't have to. There's no reason to defend it. It is what it is. It's what you choose to be. It's how you choose to show up. And if they don't like it, too bad.
That's right.
And I have another question is, when you come to, a relationship, like you say, family, siblings, parents, and they say, oh, you're too sensitive. And you're able to say, I know, I love that about myself.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to get to that place that says, that's all that needs to be said. Whatever you come back at is your story, not mine.
That's right. And so when somebody says, oh, you're too sensitive.
Yeah, that's their story.
Yeah, thank you for noticing. I appreciate that. Thank you for seeing me.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to respond with that, because they've never been taught that feeling your feelings and being sensitive is a good thing. We've grown up in a society that showing your feelings and your emotions is a sign of weakness, and that's not necessarily the truth. That's just a story that somebody made up to be able to push through life and challenges. But you don't have to lose your feelings in the process
in order to journey through.
That's right. That's right. So what are you hearing me say? What kind of clarity is coming up for you? Like, what's your spirit telling you?
Well, putting it out there more as defining myself as, that's who I am.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Absolutely.
And I do. I like the things that brings me joy, to bring joy to other people, and it brings me joy to think of doing good things for people. And yes, I am a sensitive soul, but I am very compassionate too.
And
so,
can you, wouldn't it be wonderful if you took that sensitivity, that compassion, that wanting to do, and do it for you?
yes.
And not feeling that, oh, I'm being selfish. I should always do for the other person. I'm very much a fix-it person, like you. However, I'm hoping to learn and transform the outward in instead of inward out.
Right,
So,
right.
So all that compassion and that love and that caring that you show for so many people every day of your life, wouldn't it be awesome if you could take all of that and do it back to yourself?
And that's a powerful question in itself.
Yeah.
And so I want to remind you and myself that we were born with a purpose to experience our experiences. That's the journey. I have full permission to experience all of my experiences. But we grow up putting good, bad, right, or wrong, and we put those labels on experiences, And then we slowly decide, I don't want to experience the bad ones. I only want to experience the good ones. And the reason why I know this is because I've been working with teenagers for over 24 years now. And I have this powerful exercise called the bus. And on the bus, all the kids line up behind each other in a single file line. And then I have them choose different options. I'll say either steak or pizza. And then I'll say, get off the bus. And they'll get off the bus on whichever one they choose. And then I go down the line and ask them, why did you choose pizza? Why did you choose steak? And then they get to kind of self-reflect and give me an answer. Well, when I started this training 20 plus years ago, I started to say sadness or happiness. And they would go 50-50. Now, today's kids are 99 to 100% all on happiness. And when I go down the line and ask them, why did you choose happiness? The common response is, because I don't like to feel sad. And that's in 23 years that slowly, that gap we've been conditioning our kids to decide that feeling sad is a bad thing, rather than it's just an experience. It could actually be a beautiful thing if you change your mindset or you change the story around the feeling. Imagine growing up in a society when you're a baby and you're born and you're taught sadness is a beautiful thing. That pain is a beautiful thing. How do you think you would live your life?
Fully.
It would be extraordinary because you wouldn't have good, bad, right, or wrong.
You wouldn't be so limited.
That's right. You would embrace all of your emotions and you would be a fully expressed being and you would be able to feel joy and freedom and passion because you were trained with a thought that all feelings are blessings, all feelings are gifts, and that if I learn how to embrace all of them, then I'm okay.
You know, every time I have an experience with you on the show where, you know, you just bring me to my knees, I am uplifted. I go down on my knees, but then I am so uplifted by that experience. And so I'm trying really hard to not limit myself to only positives because that's not real. It's just not, that's not real life. It's limiting life.
And imagine you having an experience that you have quoted negative or bad or sad, and you learn how to embrace that emotion fully, and you don't resist it, but allow yourself to just experience it fully. Imagine what you teach your kids.
Yes.
By virtue of watching you embrace all of moments and seeing all moments as beautiful, your kids start to learn how to be fully expressive beings, and they start learning how to accept and experience all their emotions fully, instead of a negative emotion or a bad emotion comes up and then we stuff it. Mm-hmm. And then another bad emotion comes and we stuff it.
Right.
Now we're walking around in our 20s and our 30s with all this emotional baggage, trying to get married to people and say, come love me fully, not knowing how much baggage you have. Like, how are you supposed to be lovable and loving with all this emotional baggage that you never fully expressed? The feeling of emotions are supposed to come up so that they run through us, not come through and then get stuck and then we stuff them. Mm-hmm. They're supposed to come so that they can run through us so that we can feel it, let it go, and then I'm freed up to now be in the next moment. So
the thing that I love and that I'm hearing is that there is no emotion that is bad. All emotions are good.
Now imagine, because you just said that, you just contradicted all the other limiting beliefs you've had about emotions, and you just replaced it with a brand new one.
I get goosebumps.
Yeah,
I get goosebumps.
And that's how this works. And you can't get that clarity without having a dialogue about it and discussing it, and having someone just open up a different possibility for you to see it a new way. So what's opening up for you as you're asking that question, getting a different perspective, different insight on feeling sensitive and your emotions?
Well, I think what you mentioned about sadness is you are kind of told that sadness is not a good thing. And I try to take each experience and learn from it. So whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, there's somebody crosses your path, there's something to be learned from that. And so in hearing that sadness is okay, that's uplifting, that's freeing.
Yeah, you now gave yourself permission to be sad.
Right.
And
Right.
Are you ready to go to the next level?
yeah, pump it up.
All right. We got 1 minute. So
Okay.
1 minute before we're going to break. I'm going to take it to the next level. Your emotions are designed for you to experience that experience, for you to know yourself in that moment. So here's an example. If you see an animal being taken advantage of or hurt, in that moment, your heart hurts, right?
Correct.
And you feel that pain and you feel that sadness and you allow yourself to feel that emotion. That emotion is there to remind you that you are a compassionate being. Now imagine if you decided not to feel the emotion, then how do you remind yourself of who you are? So you got to remember that our emotions are reminding us in certain situations of who you are. So you're deciding who you are in each moment. If somebody comes to you with a struggle and they're asking you for help and they say, hey, can you give me a few dollars so I can buy myself or my kids some food to eat tonight? We haven't eaten for a couple of days. Now, in that heartbreak, I'm feeling the heartbreak and the compassion, and now that compels me to pull out a few dollars to hand them so that they can eat tonight. That's experiences for me to know myself as a giver. That compassion, that heartbreak, that experience is reminding me who I am in that moment. So you got to also be reminded that our feelings and our emotions are there to teach us things about ourselves, to know ourselves as certain human potentiality. With that being said, we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to take it to a whole nother level. Stay tuned for more of the Alex Urbina Radio Show right here in your hometown station, KHTS.
Come join me, Arif Halby, for Total Financial Solutions Safer Money Hour. Every Tuesday at noon, we uncover ways to help you manage your money, get out of debt, and prepare for your retirement. That's every Tuesday at noon on Total Financial Solutions Safer Money Hour. Are you not sure if you can retire yet? Listen to us and learn about tips for savings, retirement strategies, and so much more. That's every Tuesday at noon on Total Financial Solutions Safer Money Hour on your hometown station, KHTS.
Who says fun is just for weekends? Come live it every day at Skyline, a new kind of master plan community with indoor and outdoor lifestyle amenities perched in the beautiful hills of Santa Clarita with nearly 1,600 acres of open space, also known as your new backyard. Prices start in the mid-500s. Come for our grand opening event November 3rd with live performances, food trucks, craft beer, and model tours. RSVP at lifeatskyline.com. Join us November 3rd and get a taste of life wide open.
The Santa Clarita Artists Association has a new gallery in downtown Newhall on 6th Street between Main and Railroad, right across from the Canyon Theater Guild. The gallery features our members' paintings, sculptures, and one-of-a-kind handcrafted gift items. Whether you're an art lover, buyer, or an artist wishing to join, visit our website at santaclaritaartist.org, come to our free monthly meetings at Barnes & Noble, or stop by the gallery. For upcoming events and exhibits, check us out at santaclaritaartist.org. We make visual art visible.
Your hometown station.
KHTS AM 1220 and the new 98.1 FM.
And welcome back to the Alex Urbina Radio Show. I'm your host, Alex Urbina, hanging out with Ellen Tunick. And in case you're just joining us, this is a live coaching session on the radio with Lisa Brugali. Is our thing starting to open up for you?
Yes.
Okay, great. Do you got another question? Where do you want to pivot it to?
Well, in relation to, I guess kind of goes along with what we were talking about being sensitive. And as I stated before, I have these great relationships with girlfriends. But with men, I'm not doing so great at following my gut. How do I follow my gut? My gut says to me a lot of the times that it's wrong, but I go forward anyway.
What's wrong? When you say
that the relationship's wrong, or that it's not a good fit, that something's not quite right, and I dismiss it and go forward.
Okay, that's a great question. A lot of times when I work with some of my clients, the main gist of what I'm trying to do with my client is a little bit at a time is to help them love and accept themselves a little bit more every single day. And the more that I can get you or empower you to start loving and accepting yourself fully, let's say in the loving yourself, accepting yourself category, 0 to 10, you're at a 4 or a 7. If I can get you to an 8 or a 9, the 8s or the 9s, they just don't tolerate anything less than what they know that they're worthy of. So when you love yourself and accept yourself and believe yourself to be someone extraordinary and to be a catch, you're a little bit more, you're more precautious, you're selective, and you're really eyeballing the one that walks in the room that you go, that's the guy I deserve, and that's the guy that deserves me. Rather than all the other narcissistic, broken guys that come to you and want to try to play their games on you and control you and all that kind of stuff. Those are the easy pickings. But when you start to learn how to love and accept yourself more, you just have a higher standard. And what happens is that your energy is so attractive to those bigger fish that they start coming around. You start attracting them to you. So I guess the picture I'm trying to paint is that you got to start working more on yourself. If you make a bigger commitment to working and healing and loving yourself more, all of that happens organically. It's not a doing this, it's more of a way of being. And you evolve to that level, you just start attracting the guys that are going to take care of your heart. They're going to honor and respect you, and they're going to give you the space to be who you are, that sensitive, loving, compassionate woman. And they're not going to try to fix you or change you. It just comes in the packaging. What are you hearing?
Well, I have been working on doing a lot of reading, a lot of positive affirmations, and writing down positive things about myself. So I've been trying to give myself more kudos, more encouragement as I go through my business, as I go through everyday life, as I experience my relationships with my friends. I'm trying to give myself more and more, filling in the empty spaces, as somebody once said. You need to fill in those empty spaces. So I'm working on that, and which is what you were saying, is love yourself and be happy with yourself.
First and foremost.
And then you'll find the right
Not
person.
find, you'll attract them. They will start coming up.
Yeah.
So as I was sharing that insight with you, your face lit up like Christmas morning. So what's that about?
Well,
explain that to me.
Because I feel like I've had two relationships that I feel kind of emotionally drained me. And I was always the type of person that would smile all the time and feel what you were saying. That's why I lit up. Feel that inner joy. And I feel like I kind of lost my smile a little bit. And
a lot.
For the past 8 years.
Well, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
the little girl came out in that moment as I was talking, and it was fueling me. I was getting excited because you just lit up. It was almost like, man, like the little girl inside you was like, yeah, Alex, remind her that's where I get to get back to restore myself again. Sometimes we go in these relationships and we go through these ups and downs, and we don't know how to surrender or let go of some of the stuff that we've gone through and let it be part of the past and then start brand new again. So we kind of bring some of that baggage with us, and we're kind of tainted, and we're jolted, and we're just we tend to
blame
it with
ourselves.
us. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I'm a good blamer.
Yeah. So you're probably carrying some baggage and some resentment and all kinds of stuff with you, guilt into.
She always thinks that it's her fault that it didn't work. What did I do? What did I not do?
Yeah, and the distinction that you just used in the word fault is the negative, blame, beat up portion of the story. Now, when you start learning the distinction between blame and responsibility, the word responsibility implies that you're just owning it. You're taking accountability for it, but you're not bringing the punching bag, and you're not bringing all of the beat up. You can take responsibility for your results and not bring the beat up with it.
Right.
And so that's the distinction of I own it. I take responsibility. I chose the guy. I chose to stay. I chose to ignore all the warning signs. But you know what? I get to learn from it. It was a learning experience, and therefore, if I learned from it, then it was a blessing. And now I take the goodies with me, and then I let go of the rest of it, and then now I can go into a brand new relationship with a clean slate. But a lot of times we don't know how to distinguish blame versus responsibility.
That's a good point.
So we bring all of the baggage with the blame part of it, and we bring that into the new relationship, and then we end up tainting and sabotaging this beautiful possibility of having an extraordinary relationship with could be the guy of your dreams.
Who knows?
And once again, I just brought some of that stuff into it and tainted it. That's why when I work with especially people that have gone through relationships, there's a whole cleanup process. There's a whole amends and owning stuff. And there's a whole powerful process and a package that comes with the tying up all the loose ends and the grief and letting go of stuff and then healing yourself and then empowering yourself. And with that new woman, you're like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And when my clients tell me I'm ready, I look at them and I go, yes, you are. like I'm so excited for you. But we're not taught how to do that. We're not taught how to clean up relationships. We're not taught how to go and make amends with and complete some of our old broken relationships and how to pick ourselves back up and move on to what's next.
All the limiting beliefs that we utilize in our life, whether they've come from your childhood, whether they're literally coming from people surrounding you today, those limiting beliefs inhibit us from moving forward and becoming these extraordinary people that we were put on this earth to be. So working with those limiting beliefs that situations have created for us or that other people want to put out there for us, that's a lot of hard work. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of hard work.
So with that being said, what's starting to open up for you?
Well, one thing that goes back to our initial conversation about being too sensitive and having my thoughts discounted, for lack of a better word, is that I think I do that in relationships. I think that when I'm attacked verbally, not physically, I say, oh, I don't have a right to have that feeling. I think in the back of my mind, I say that. I don't have a right to have that feeling. So then I have to process. When somebody attacks me, I have to process it. And I can't come back right away because it's almost like I'm going to say the wrong thing. It's not, and so it kind of goes back to what we originally talked about in my sensitivity and my lack of, I guess, self-confidence.
Let me ask you a question. Could it be possible that some of the men that you've chosen to be in relationship with are really good at projecting onto you that you're causing their grief, you're causing them certain negative experiences, and so then they project that back onto you? Because when you say like people discount you, what does it sound like? What is this? Give me a scenario or verbal sentence or phrase that would sound like someone's discounting your feelings.
Give an example of what happened today. Take something that's happened today.
Like, what do you mean by someone discounts me or I feel discounted, like my feeling's not valid?
Oh, boy, that's a tough one. Let's say oh, gosh. You put me on the spot. I can't think of something right now.
but you feel like whoever you're in relationship with, somebody says to you.
Well, if somebody gets in an argument with me and says, you're overreacting. That's a big thing. You're overreacting. You're it didn't happen this way. It didn't. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe I am overreacting. Maybe I am being too sensitive.
All right,
maybe okay.
Okay, it's a great example. It's a great example. All right. So somebody says to you, you're overreacting. And now they're projecting their idea of you overreacting and they're projecting onto that you shouldn't be overreacting, correct? Mm-hmm. Now, if I was like letting you know, Ellen, I'm not okay with this. This is something that's disturbing me. And you go, oh my God, Alex, there you go again. You're overreacting. And you're sharing that opinion with me. I have trained myself to be able to see that you're just sharing your opinion, that it appears to you that I'm overreacting. To me, I don't allow you to convince me that I'm overreacting, because I know in my heart I'm just venting my frustration out. I feel like when you're in those shoes, you allow those people to convince you that you are overreacting and that you shouldn't be overreacting. Instead of saying, hey, thank you, Ellen, for your opinion. I know on your end it might be looking like I'm overreacting, but if that's what I'm doing, so let it be.
I'm good with it.
All I'm doing is just venting out my frustration. And so if you can't handle me overreacting, maybe you need to go to someone else that can handle it. But it feels like you're taking on that by them saying you're overreacting, like you're deciding that's not a good thing. You're judging it.
Right.
You're judging it, and then by judging it, you're going, well, I don't want to be overreacting to you, so then I'm gonna now not do that anymore. And so then you're shutting down your own self-expression around all the people that keep telling you stop overreacting. Right. And then we wonder why we're walking around all shut down and closed, and we
question ourselves.
Yeah, and then we start doubting ourselves.
Big time.
Yeah, so you need to be with somebody that is very secure in themselves, so that their space is so big that you can come in and just figure out who you are and just be who you are without them having their own opinion about what they think you should be or not be. Because you keep choosing these narrow-minded gentlemen that come in acting like they're all loving and all open and all that. They're not. You really need to find somebody in a space where you can just learn how to be that, like a playground.
In
and
your
there's no
life.
right, and there's
in
no
your
right.
life.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
And there's no right or wrong to however you feel. It's just
how you feel.
Yeah, it's just how you feel, and they get to honor that.
I like that.
They get to honor that.
You mean I get to have feelings?
Absolutely,
wow.
Absolutely. Or you get a guy that goes, I love that you overreact. I love that about you.
Yeah, wahoo.
I love that about you.
Yeah.
They're out there. You know, Ron has done that with me. I'm a tough cookie, you know, and he loves that I'm a tough cookie.
Yeah, and they can stay neutral. They can be neutral and not take it personal, and it's got nothing with them to do with them. They're not in the relationship to try to fix you or make you be the way that they need you to be to make themselves feel better, because they've worked on themselves.
Yeah, that was a biggie with the last one.
Yeah, and so if you keep choosing those kinds of guys, you're going to keep having those same experiences.
Right.
And that you know, that extends to everybody that's in your life.
Sure.
In your circle.
Sure.
We have inner circle and outer circles.
You know, if I were to limit you from being the Lisa that I happen to love, then I wouldn't be a good friend.
That's probably why you guys, when I ask you how you met and you go, we just hit it off, that's what you need to find in a gentleman that you're attracted to, is find somebody that has the
honest,
that has the context. He's so evolved that he has the space for you to, get upset or get angry, and he doesn't take it personal.
Right.
But a lot of us as human beings, when we're unconscious, we take things personal. Yeah. We make it about me.
Yeah.
Like if you're getting upset, like you can't find your shoe and you're running late and you're yelling at me, I take it personal and I go, why are you yelling at me?
I didn't do anything.
Instead of just sitting there smiling with my little drink and I'm having a drink, like, all right, honey, when you're ready, we'll go, just neutral.
We're a little late, it's all good.
Yeah. But as human beings, we're so quick to make things about us. Yeah. And I think that you have that part of you that when somebody projects their opinion onto you, you go to, oh my God, I shouldn't have done that. And I'm bad and wrong because I did that to you. No, you didn't do anything to them. You just did what you did. They, out of their own insecurities, chose to be offended, be hurt, and then try to course correct it. And you got to learn the dynamics of that dysfunction. Because if you don't learn that, you're just going to keep being that trigger, and you're going to keep remolding yourself to please people. And you don't want to be a people pleaser because you'll never be satisfied.
No.
Yeah.
You'll never be happy. You'll never be fulfilled.
I don't.
Yeah.
No. It was interesting what you said about venting. The boyfriend that I just broke up with said to me, I had been telling him for 3 days I was unhappy, and I was unhappy. And then when I finally just ended it, because I just had it, well, I don't know the difference between you venting and telling me how you feel. I think I was pretty clear when I said I was unhappy. I mean, I do think that was pretty clear.
And again, that's his issue, not yours.
But I felt bad. I felt bad that I hurt him. But I became his obsession, and it was scary, you know. So, but I worked through that.
And there are things that you can learn how, that as a couple, to learn how to communicate. One of the things I teach in my relationship workshops is how to communicate properly. And I teach them the word vent. And then I'll teach the husband or the wife or the boyfriend or girlfriend to go, look, if you are frustrated, the key word in the tee up is, hey, honey, can I vent? Do I have permission to vent?
Okay.
And when they go for it, then I tell the husband, all right, when she says she's going to vent, you need to put on the different kind of ears and listen from the ears that she's venting and it has nothing to do with you. And then all of a sudden the guy's face lights up and he goes, oh, I can do that all day long. I'm all over that. But the key word is I need to vent.
I need to vent.
Sometimes if we don't use that and we just start venting, they hear it as I'm bad and wrong. How do I fix this? You know what I'm saying? So a little bit of it is learning how to communicate
what
effectively.
Words to use.
But when you learn that, and with your growth process, you're in a zone. And when both you and your spouse, your partner, are in that zone, you guys are on your way to creating some extraordinary living together. We got to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to take it to a whole nother level, or we'll just wrap the show up with some positive golden nuggets. Stay tuned for more of the Alex Urbina radio show right here in your hometown station, KHTS.
Santa Clarita, bedbugs are taking over our city. They've invaded our homes, our businesses, and most importantly, our sleep. If you have suspicious bites that appear nightly, or have a bug that you need ID'd, your best option is to make one call to All Pro. We offer a 100% guarantee that your bedbug issues will be solved with heat in one treatment. No need to tent or spray your house with chemicals. Heat is all you need. Call 661-298-2200 or text me a bug picture to 661-645-0540. It's time to sleep tight again, SCV.
Six Flags Fright Fest, presented by Snickers, the biggest, most terrifying event ever, with thrills by day, fright by night, and the scariest coasters in the dark. 13 haunted mazes and scare zones, featuring the new maze from the movie Hellfest. The Fright Fest opening sale is here. For a limited time, save 40% on tickets at sixflags.com. Don't miss your chance to save 40% on tickets when you buy and visit by October 14th.
Hi, I'm Steve Cruz, and my wife and I own the local pub and grill. With 19 70-inch TVs, it's the best place in the valley to catch a game. We have a vast selection of beer, wine, and specialty cocktails to choose from, including our charity ale, where 10% of every pint we sell goes to Carousel Ranch. Our menu features classics with a flavorful twist. Come by for Taco Trivia Tuesdays at 7, Wines Day for bingo and karaoke starting at 8 p.m., and karaoke every Saturday at 9. Local Pub and Grill, right next to Bevmo on the Old Road. Support local, support community.
Are you ready for some football? Consumers Furniture is. Come on in and check out our huge selection of Power Motion furniture. We have the largest selection of reclining sectionals, sofas, love seats, and recliners in the Santa Clarita Valley. Fabric or leather, Consumers has the right piece at the right price to make your home ready for all the big games. Need it for this Saturday or Sunday? No problem. Consumers has same-day or next-day delivery on most of our items. Consumers Furniture is located in the Center Point Shopping Center right below Sam's Club and Walmart.
KHTS.
Now FM, 98.1 FM, and AM 1220, your hometown station.
Welcome back to the Alex Urbina radio show. I'm in studio with Ellen and Lisa. We've been having a very powerful discussion about all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Owning your own power, loving yourself, not letting people project onto you, learning how to let people have their experience without feeling guilty because you supposedly, from their perspective, caused it in them, and all those kinds of things. You get to just be mindful and not let people enroll you into, you did this to me. Instead of, no, I just did what I did, and I was just open and honest with my feelings, and then you got the chance to interpret it however you wanted it. And
you can't be responsible for two people.
That's right.
Yeah.
They get to be the owners of their own experiences, their own realities, and you get to just be the owner of your own expression and your own interpretation, your own realities. But if you're both working on yourself and learning together, what an amazing experience.
But what happens if you're in an environment where you're working on it and nobody else is?
That's a good question.
It's a great question. You really want the answer to that?
Yes.
All right. So quite often I have either the husband or the wife or the boyfriend or the girlfriend that will start doing work with me. And what I tell them right off the bat, if I notice they're one of those clients that is like excited and they got the bug and they're like ready to, like, I want to do this work. Once I know they're committed, I'll tell them, you got to be careful, because at a certain point you're going to have to enroll your partner into working with you together. Because if not, and I hate to say it, but at some point one of you outgrows the other person. Now, if one of you is growing and the other one is growing in increments and you guys are kind of growing together and the gap stays at a certain point, you don't outgrow each other. But if one of you stays stuck and the other one's growing, there's that pivotal point where you outgrow each other, and then you're just, one of you's in Dodger Stadium and the other one's in Yankee Stadium. You can be in one stadium, like one of you's on the field at Dodger Stadium and one of you's in the bleachers, but you can't be in different stadiums.
Got it.
You got to be within range and growing together like this. You could be moving in one direction in the growth. You don't necessarily have to be on the same level, but just growing close. But at a certain point, one of you, if you just stay stuck, the other person just outgrows each other. And it's kind of just a phenomenon, like we were talking about earlier.
The evolution. It just evolves.
Yeah.
It's kind of an organic process.
Yeah, earlier we were talking about friends, and sometimes we outgrow friends and we just kind of move on. It can happen.
And
I've seen it
I
happen.
experienced that in a family relationship where I was very close to a cousin, and it became kind of a toxic relationship for me.
Mm-hmm.
And organically, I had to let it go. But it was family, and I was highly criticized by other family members for saying, I can't have this in my life. It's too painful, it's too hurtful, and I would try, but I'm not getting the feedback on the other side, so I had to let it go. And that was very challenging for me.
Yeah. Another phenomenon that can happen is that one of you just grows to the point where you have a bigger capacity, and then you're able to just allow the other person to stay stuck, and then you have so much personal power on yourself that you just learn how to accept them for who they are. And so then that can happen too. So you can just...
I was young.
Yeah. But ultimately, I think the win-win is to figure out how to enroll your partner into wanting to grow with you. It's what I actually did when I had my awakening at the age of 23. I came home and I broke down to my wife and I got really vulnerable. And I intuitively knew this. No one taught me this. I just intuitively knew, like, I want to do this for the rest of my life. And my fear is, if I keep growing and I keep evolving and I keep working on myself and you don't, I'm afraid that we're going to just outgrow each other, and that's not what I want. And so when I just brought all my walls down and I broke down, I said, I want to be a better husband. I want to be a better dad. I want to be a better human being. Thank God that she allowed herself to feel that and want it too. And I enrolled her into wanting to work on herself too. So we're both on that journey together. Now, we're not, galloping at the same, wavelength. Right. She's on her process and her journey, and I'm on my journey. We don't compare, but we're both headed in that direction. As long as you're on that same road, that same path, same direction, you guys are good to go. But if one of you just decides, no, I'm not going to work on myself, they stay rigid, and then the more you start growing, it starts to just kind of, they're it's like oil and water. You
end up with a
compatible.
Choice. I will choose to have this person in my life, but I don't choose to bring in their negativity. It's their journey.
Yeah, Yes. However, you can also just evolve so big that you just learn how to just allow them to be that stubborn,
just,
Joe
being Joe.
Oh yeah. That's just my wife, or, I love her like that, or it's just my husband. And then you can just tolerate them.
You just release the rest.
Yeah. And just love them like the way they are, the same way, where I don't have to fix them. I don't have to make them what I need them to be. And I just get to love them for who they are. And sometimes when we're
all flawed.
and when we're in love with people, that's really what love to me is not trying to fix people or change them so they make my life better, but how do I learn how to shift me and what's going on within me, that they can just be who they are, and I just learn how to love that about them. That's, I think, one of the greatest gifts.
Yeah. And that takes a lot of work.
It does take work.
Yes,
it's a challenge.
It sounds really good, but it's a lot of work.
So what's the takeaway for both of you guys? We got like under a minute left before we wrap this puppy
Love
up.
yourself.
Love
Be
yourself.
good to yourself.
Yeah.
Don't let the harmful interpretations of others hurt you. Take it as you said. Take it as their feelings and how they took it, and don't take it personally.
Yeah, and when you say don't take it personally, it's like you're the meaning maker to everything. So when you say somebody's hurting me with their words, it's because you've decided that those words are hurtful. So I'm going to give you an example. People can say things to me, and I can smile, and honestly, I give that their opinion no meaning, because it doesn't serve me to give it the meaning so that I feel the pain from it.
I love that.
So you are literally the meaning maker to your own reality. So technically, nobody can ever hurt you if you've decided that.
Sure.
That's all the time we have. The good news is we're here every Friday live at noon. You can follow me on Facebook at Coach Alex Urbina. I'm also on YouTube and Instagram. Thanks for joining us on the Alex Urbina Radio Show right here in your hometown station, KHTS.